days are for surf science and surfboard safari segments. Dude, that's a lot of S's. We're hoping to hit both in this episode because we'll be talking about point break. What a point break is, the famous point breaks, and the movie Point Break. Welcome to the Wipeout Weekly, the daily podcast for beginners, wannabe surfers, and seasoned wipeout enthusiasts. No hype, no filler, just the highs, lows, and honest truth about learning to surf and finding your place in surf culture. I'm your host, Suze Wilson. Let's go out. As a beginner, you know pretty well what a beach break is. That's the break where you don't usually get shouted at. A point break is a different kettle of fish. It's a type of surf break where waves hit a clearly defined point of land, i.e., a point. A point can be a rock or a bit of headland. The waves then peel along that point, usually creating long and predictable waves. In short, the best kind of waves. The superiority of point breaks over beach breaks is their consistency. With beach breaks, sandbars constantly shift, making waves behave, well, unpredictably. Predictability, however, doesn't necessarily mean that the waves are always the same size. As I was preparing for this, I wanted to use Waikiki as an example of a wave that can be a sloppy half-foot one day, or, when hit by a storm from a southern swell, reach 15 feet in height. But here's the kicker. Waikiki is only a point feel break, not a point break. Because it is, ta-da, a reef break. Is there a difference? Apparently so. Waikiki, as well as another break I thought for sure was a point break, namely Waimea Bay, doesn't have a prominent land point extending outward, so waves can't peel along it. Instead, they form over reef structures and coral beds, creating consistent breaks in multiple points, rather than along a single defined point. I don't know about you, but as a beginner, I hear multiple spots, and I'm already thinking about the superiority of reef breaks over point breaks. So where does one find a proper point break? Malibu Surf Rider Beach. A break that has not one, but 3 points, aptly named first point, second point, and third point. Malibu also has a bottom that at low tide can cause some serious damage if you don't know what you're doing, because it's cobblestones and rocks with some sand thrown in the middle. I've been on the receiving end. I do not recommend. Okay, it's about time I mentioned Point Break, the action thriller classic with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze that reignited the surf craze in the early 90s. Were any surf scenes in Point Break filmed at the most famous Point Break in California, Malibu? Of course not. They were filmed further up at Leo Carrillo Beach, which is, wait for it, a hybrid reef point break. This means consistent waves that can peel nicely, giving a somewhat point-like feel in certain swell directions. But it's not a point break proper. Neither is County Line Beach, where some additional scenes were filmed, nor Waimea Bay, as mentioned, where they shot the big wave scenes. So, no point break in Point Break. There are two stories I love about filming of Point Break. The first one is that while Patrick Swayze embraced surfing and did most of his stunts, Keanu Reeves initially struggled. He eventually developed pretty decent surf skills, but still relied on a stunt double more than Swayze did. I just can't imagine Keanu struggling with anything. I love him. The other story concerns a surfboard. Ta-da! Our surfboard safari segment is here. A surfboard specifically shaped for Patrick Swayze's character, Bodhi. It was a Spider brand surfboard custom designed by Dennis Jarvis, a surfboard shaper. The surfboard is very unique. It features an approximately 15-inch long, 1.5-inch wide channel running up the center of the board to allow for Swayze's, I quote, unusually pronounced sternum. 3 boards were made for the production. The one apparently used in the night surfing scene, which was awfully hard to film, I hear, sold for $64,000. That's like 600 something of those new soft-top Costco boards. Okay, let's circle back to our discussion on the advantages of a point break. Apart from the fact that no one called their movie Beach Break, what? There is a movie called Beach Break? You must be kidding me. Listen to this. Released in 2018, the film features characters including a puppy, a shell, a Minnie Mouse headband, who must set aside their differences upon discovering that the beach they inhabit is under threat. No. I was right. It's a short, not a full-length movie. Beach Break is a short, Point Break is a movie. Movies are longer than shorts. Waves at Point Breaks peel neatly, giving you more time to practice and improve. Point Breaks win because it's easier to practice your pop-up at Point Breaks where the waves are not closing out as quickly as at Beach Breaks. You can explore bottom turns, top turns, and trimming along the wave as you get more experienced. There's stuff about Point Breaks that sucks, too. They're crowded, obviously, competitive, obviously, and tend to be rocky. So both your pride and your bottom may suffer, especially at low tides. But totally worth it. Like that $64,000 body surfboard. And that's our point break for today. But Sus, you promised us famous point breaks. Okay, here are a few. Jeffreys Bay, South Africa. Burley Heads and the Superbank, Gold Coast, Australia. Rincon, California. Mundaka, Spain. Mic drop. And that's all for today. Check out the Wi-Fi Weekly for our free newsletter, more stories and ways to connect with us. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow for more of the Wi-Fi Weekly.